Hey, what's up everybody? Justin here to review you one of my favorite boxing simulators of all time, Hajime no Ippo 2 Victorious Road for the PlayStation 2. And yes, this is based on the long-running hit manga by Joji Morikawa and has gotten a small handful of anime adaptations. But prior to the first anime getting a US release, the first game for the PS2, Hajime no Ippo Victorious Boxers, was released under the title Victorious Boxers Ippo's Road to Glory. And under the Victorious Boxers name, Hajime no Ippo All-Stars and the Wii games were also released internationally. Unfortunately, Victorious Road here, the best of the bunch, remains exclusive to Japan.
Like its predecessor, you can progress through the story of the manga, or at least where the story was when this game was first released in Japan. It has the typical arcade story mode, versus mode, tournament mode, and so on. In addition to the generic punches you see in boxing, many will have their special moves from the manga. For Ippo, you can use the Dempsey roll. The right hand smash, the gazelle punch, and the Joffrey uppercut he used against Miyata in their second spar. For Aoki, he'll even have his look away, which can only be used once per fight. And some speed-oriented characters such as Miyata will have something called slow battle, where they can slow down the fight like in the Matrix and use that to take advantage. After beating all the stories, you get to be Jesus Date and fight against Martinez like he does in the manga and try to win. And believe me, if you thought the SNK bosses were hard, Martinez will make them look like child's play. You try to brawl with him, he'll take you out. If you try to box with him, he'll outbox you.
Wow.
so you need to use slow battle to dodge his punches, counter, and get him up against the ropes or corners, and at the right angle, spam the body uppercuts. And this strategy tends to work almost every time.
Round two. Round 3.
But enough of that. It's time to get into the nitty-gritty as to why this is considered not just one of the best Hajime no Ippo games, but one of the best boxing games of all time, and that's all thanks to the Boxer's Road mode. And this was inspired by a PS1 hit in Japan called Boxer's Road, where you don't just create a simple boxer by just, giving him his looks and his moves, but you also have to prepare his diet and training routine and make sure he stays on weight and in fighting shape. As a matter of fact, I have reviewed the original Boxer's Road PS1 game and should still be on my Daily Motion. And for the training, you could do the heavy bag, the shadow boxing, and the double end ball, but as you progress, you can include more gimmicky training from the manga, such as catching leaves like Ippo did, squatting in a pool, or running with tires tied to your waist. In the Boxer's Road mode, you can choose your boxer's fighting style. Is he a brawler, a peekaboo style fighter, an outboxer, a hybrid, or will he use the Hitman style, or will he be more flamboyant? You have those choices in whatever style you use and can affect whatever special moves you can give your boxer. Take, for example, you make a fighter with the Hitman style, but he won't be able to be assigned, let's say, a Dempsey role, but he can use, for example, Mashiba's chopping right. And for an in-fighter-oriented boxer, he can use Ippo's deadly Dempsey role. In addition, you could choose if your fighter is going to be, right-handed, left-handed, or will he be a switch hitter. In addition to choosing his fighting style, name, height, initial, weight, and other stuff, you can decide which country he's fighting out of. Japan, South Korea, Thailand, the US, or the UK. And within those countries, you have the choice of 2 gyms, but in the case of Japan, you have the choice of fighting out of either the Kamigawa gym, which is where Ippo is based out of, or the Naniwa Kentokai, which is where Sendo is based out of, or the Marui gym, the gym featured in the original PS1 Boxer's Road game. If you choose to fight out of the Kamigawa gym, then at times you get to spar with Takamura, Aoki, Kimura, and Ippo. But let's say, for instance, your fighter is based out of the Kamigawa gym and is a featherweight, and Ippo is a featherweight champion of Japan. In that instance, you won't be able to challenge him for the title, even if you can kick his butt at sparring. And the earliest you can start is 1983, so some characters won't be showing up until, let's say, 1990, 1991-ish. And the youngest you can start is 17, which is when a boxer can get legally licensed in Japan. If you fight, let's say, out of the US, after going through the domestic and regional rankings, you can also fight for the world title. And you can go for the big 4, which would be the WBA, the WBC, IBF, and WBO titles. You can either go for one or become the undisputed champion by going for all of them. But if you're fighting out of Japan, you'll be only limited to fighting for the WBA and WBC titles because Japan's boxing commission at the time of this game's release only allowed their fighters to fight for those titles. But from after 2010, they started allowing their fighters to fight for the IBF and WBO titles as well. And going back to weight, the US domestic rankings can go up to heavyweight, which exceeds 190 pounds in this game, but if you're fighting out of Japan, the heaviest you can get within the domestic rankings is middleweight, which is a maximum of 160 pounds, so be careful. In addition to winning many belts, you can also conquer other weight classes. Let's just say you're a lightweight and you become the champion and there's no one left to challenge. So you have the option of say, oh, do you want to go up or do you want to go down in weight? In that case, you can change your diet and training routine in order to make that weight that you want to make. What I hated about the original Boxers Road PS1 release was if you fight an opponent at welterweight, which ranges from 141 to 147 pounds, and if the opponent is, let's say, 144 pounds, your fighter has to conditionally be at that same weight and not within the range of that particular weight class, which I thought was bullshit. And in this game, as long as the fighter's within the range of the weight class, then he's fine. I say start your fighter as light as possible, even if it means he starts at 75 pounds. Work with a training program that'll get his muscles up and have him train for a year or two, and then when he tests for his license, start from there, and then the sky's the limit. First, just let him do training for a year and decline every offer to take the test. Then after a year, start some sparring, set it at 2 rounds, 2 knockdowns, wear headgear and 16-ounce gloves. Sparring will help you develop your skills and game plans against certain types of boxers, which will prove beneficial much later. After you feel comfortable with your sparring, then you can take the test, which is the sparring portion, and you won't have to take the written portion like portrayed in the manga or anime. And after you pass, you can start fighting. First, you'll start the local circus at 4 rounds, and after a few victories, you can go up to 6 rounds, then 8, then 10, then you can fight within the domestic rankings to win your home nation's title. After that, you can progress to the world stage, but you probably won't be ready as of yet, so the next step is fighting for the region you're in. So if, let's say, you become the champion of Japan, you can go for the OPBF title as your next step, and that can help you on your journey in becoming a world champion. And after defending that specific title, then you can take on the world. After everything is set, you can schedule your fights 2 weeks in advance, or maybe 3 weeks, or maybe a month, 2 months, 6 months, or even up to a year. But if you have a title, and if you don't defend it within 6 months, you are subjected to having it stripped from you. So be careful, especially if you're fighting out of America and you possess all 4 world titles. Of course, there are specific diets and training plans to improve these certain attributes. There are plans to make him fast, and there are others that can make him super strong. Or do you want something that's stable? If so, we can arrange that. Or do you want him to go down in weight? If so, there's a plan for that too, and all that info will be provided in the show notes. Also, in between fights, you can check on your stats if they're improving or going down, and which muscles and attributes are going up and down in real time. That is definitely a great detail that is featured here. So depending on how young you start, it can define the career longevity. If the boxer is over 30 years old and doesn't have a title on his waist, he might be subjected to automatic retirement. Or if you lose by knockout a certain number of times consecutively, or miss weight a certain number of times consecutively, or if you're obscenely out of range with the targeted weight you're supposed to fight at, then you also be subjected to automatic retirement under those circumstances. But by following the right plans, not only will you become a champion, but a dominant one. Once you fight in the world stage, you can fight people from all over the world and fight all over the world. But what's also neat is that before every world title fight, like real life boxing, you will also get the national anthems for each respective combatant. And this was also one of the very first times I've heard, let's say, national anthems of certain countries. The level of detail provided here is probably one of the deepest career modes you will ever get in any sports game. And the only other sports game with such a deep create an athlete mode and career mode is probably the Fire Pro Wrestling series. If you fight outside of the Hajime no Ippo based gyms, you may collide with certain characters from Hajime no Ippo. For example, you could be fighting Martinez for the WBA featherweight title belt, or maybe Brian Hawk for the WBC junior middleweight title, and then defend it against, let's say, Takamura. Will your boxer be able to beat these characters, or are the manga characters just too powerful for your boxer? But either way, that's on you. The arcade mode is a lot of fun and gets you familiar with the basics, but the true heart and soul of this game is most definitely the Boxer's Road mode, which offers true replay value. And for every country, you will get different kinds of food, which is a nice touch. And overall, if you want a true authentic boxing experience, then Hajime no Ippo 2 Victorious Road is exactly what you're looking for.